than this, don't you think?
For sure. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that we can't do this right. Right? There's certainly enough dogs and enough, loving people. So whenever anything has been ancient like this is, and it's been loosely run by society, it's always filled with this kind of corruption. It doesn't have to be. This is not where there's not a way to match everybody, but we just haven't done it so well. Thank you for the heads up on that. I have to take advantage of your point of view when you compared our countries earlier. As a journalist, have you worked in all areas of journalism, or have you worked in animal journalism? Tell me about your journalism background, because I know you're an award-winning investigative journalist. What has been the some of the big stories you've covered over the years?
The stories possibly wouldn't mean a lot to people living in your country, but they are the usual stuff, Ed. Corruption in the
Is
public
that right?
service.
Murder, mayhem, corruption, and the otherwise disintegration of civilization. Okay, good. Well,
Oh,
that's
you
it.
got it. You got
You got it. All right,
you
great.
got
So
it.
that'll set me up for
Yes.
this question. All right, good. So I am set. I'm set for this question. Two things. I do remember watching the Brexit vote and trying to feel you guys a little bit. And in Longview, we always look at that British election before the upcoming American presidential cycle. I mean, this takes me all the way back early in my career, Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan. So we've always looked at our societies that way, and kind of a sequence is about to happen there. So two things have happened. The unlikely result arrived twice, sequentially in short term. The second thing is our profession, yours especially as a full-time investigative journalist. I began as a reporter for UPI back in the 80s, but I've since been a commentator for, decades now. But, journalism is near and dear to my heart, not just for the practical sense of First Amendment and an informed republic as we are, but just, truth and et cetera matter to me when I got in. I'm wondering, what is your view on the unpredictable results and what role journalism may have failed, succeeded, or accentuated that result? I mean, I'm just so curious as to your view on that.
So, I'm a New Zealander, but I was in the UK at the time the Brexit vote landed,
Oh,
and
you're
I think
funny. Oh, my God. So I just made you a Brit, and you're a New Zealander. All right, good. You
well,
know
look, now,
what?
hold on, you're
Further
not
away.
totally wrong. I was
Further
born in the
away.
UK.
Further away. No, I'll take the question exactly as is, because further away, you're going to have a great point of view. But I apologize for that. See, I read your accent wrong. But go
No
ahead. What did you
problem.
see? What did happen in your view?
I don't know. It a bit like you. I'm mystified as to how the pollsters could have got it wrong in both cases. But if you talk generally about journalism, I'm like you. Good quality investigative journalism is dear to my heart. But I feel that it's been subsumed in some way by the media, the greater media. We don't know now what investigative journalism is, or a lot of young people don't. And young people are my concern. I don't think they understand what investigative journalism is, as opposed to all of this other stuff that basically flows through their devices day by day. The commentators, the
Right.
bloggers, the social media. I think we really need to get back to a place in journalism where we differentiate it from all the other stuff that has become the media. And perhaps it is that snowstorm that's made us lose sight of issues like Brexit, issues like the Trump campaign. I've just
Yeah.
finished reading Katie Tour's book on the Trump campaign, and as a long-term journalist, I'm just astonished at her experience of being a journalist in that very rarefied environment. So much has changed in the buying public's way of acquiring goods like puppies. Much has changed in the world of journalism, but I think it's time for perhaps journalism as a profession to recalibrate and to teach young people about the principles of the Fourth Estate and why good journalism is so important to a functioning democracy. Because I think a lot of what we see now is not great journalism.
Yeah, I mean, you got it. Absolutely. It does look like it's getting diluted. It does look like the lines are deliberately blurred now for commercial advantage. This whole idea of making an ad look like a news story. I mean, this really started in the 80s, where press releases came out as news and would wind up in the paper being printed verbatim. Like they would take that magical paragraph, always paragraph 2, from the press release, and would stick it right in the newspaper, and then somebody would be outraged 5 days later on the op-ed page and go, "How could they?" Bah, 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 bah. And they would say, well, "What do you mean? I don't know." And then they would discover, oh. I forgot what news. It was called advertorial. I'll never forget the day they came in. It was like George Orwell has taken over the building now. We're doing advertorials. I'm sorry, what is that? Oh, it's an editorial with a sales pitch in it. Well, then is it an editorial or is it an ad pitch? Oh, well, this is brilliant news speak for its time. Well, anyway, this is great having you on.
Yours is the country that had the great tradition of Watergate and some of the other great journalistic victories that changed the governments, that changed the world.
This is who we were, right? We were that. Thank you. We were that. I was in high school during that. That was very exciting. I will never forget Nixon going to that helicopter and thinking that America works. I didn't even hate him that much. It was just typical corruption. I mean, it wasn't enough to, put him in a firing squad. He was an angry, old, vindictive politician. Oh, but, surprise, surprise. But the idea, when I was 16, 17 years old, that it worked, that he was literally walking from the building, that he was leaving, that was magical. I mean, that really was. But here's a question for you as a far outsider from the system, but we have a lot in common, right?
We do.
Will America? It's like Trumpian, this thought, but I'll go with it. We'll see how it sounds. Will the world love us enough for everything we've done to pioneer freedom and autonomy and capitalism and la la la, that in our time of struggle we'll get lots of support? Or are we going to get picked away like the giant because it's what do you call it? That kind of planet. It's a planet of predators, and if the giant gets weak, they'll just come and eat us alive, no matter how visionary Thomas Jefferson, Declaration of Independence, one man, one vote, all this kind of. What do you think? Are we going to get loved and rest? Yeah?
I sincerely hope not. I don't think your country is defined by the current political regime, and I think a lot of people feel deep sympathy for you, Ed, and we love you. I mean, my experience of Americans is that they are very generous people. I know a lot of you are feeling very despondent and despairing about what's going on, but we don't believe it. Well, speaking for myself, certainly, I don't, and most people I know don't blame what's happened on the ordinary Americans. We just have the deepest sympathy.
That's Anna. You have no idea. Anna Kenna, our guest on the Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network. A brilliant discussion today. We were so lucky. Anna, as she said earlier, an investigative award-winning journalist from New Zealand. So are you in the big city, Auckland, the only city that most Americans know in your country?
Ed, I'm in Wellington, which is close to the capital. So I'm about 50 kilometres away from Wellington, and I live near the beach with my 2 dogs, and it's a lovely environment to be in.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So you must come and visit sometime.
Oh, absolutely. It really is a country that keeps coming into vogue, and I think everybody does the same thing. They hear it and go, wait a second, British? Oh, wait a second, no. And we're in this lovely environment where weren't those, Peter Jackson shot all those movies up there, didn't he?
Totally. It's worth coming to Care and have a look at some of the locations where the movies were shot.
Breathtaking.
Lord of the Rings.
That's it. Breathtaking. I remember in the hearing afterwards, that was New Zealand? Wow. Well, anyway, what a pleasure to meet you, have you on the show today. Congratulations. Should we give a website for you? If people want to follow up with what you have to say from time to time, what you're writing about, what your stories are, what's the best way to keep in touch with you?
So I do have a website, so that's www.annakenna.com.
Beautiful. How easy.
And
annakenna.com.
My books are, so this is the second book in a series, and basically the theme is an issue plus journalism for young kids between 10 and 14, and the current book is about puppy mills and a rookie reporter who liberates a breeding bitch from a puppy mill in her community.
And that gal is Viola Vincent. She's the hero of Viola Vincent reporting Underdog.
That's the one.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, you're terrific. All the love America has sent around the globe to you, and thanks for a real nice visit today. And congratulations on your success, and we appreciate your kinship with us all the way around the globe. Thanks, Anna Kenna. Pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you, Ed.